Hi everyone, this is the Unit 11 review. If you're not in Miss Robinson's class, welcome. If you fell upon this lovely video, hopefully this can help you go over the review. So how I graph it might be different than how your teacher graphs it. So there are different ways to graph it. Some people use the 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2. Some people use 1, 3, 5. Some people plug in points. So kind of use what makes sense to you. All right, so the first question we're going to answer has this absolute value, okay? So if I plugged in 1, my answer would be 1. If I plug in 2, my answer would be 2. If I plugged in -1, I'd get a +1. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is find the vertex. So the inside number is opposite. So if it says +1, it comes out as -1. And this 4 stays as 4. It's not inside the absolute value. It's on the outside. So my vertex is -1, 4. So -1 and up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And my domain is all real numbers. So I make this fancy R for that. And let's think about our range. Okay, well, my A value is negative. Okay, so that means that it's opening down. So I have less than or equal to. And then what is this second number? I'm going to bring that down to here. All right, now I'm going to graph it. So I use the method of 1, 1, 2, 2 when I'm dealing with absolute value. Okay, now because the A is -2, I'm going to times that by the second number. So 1, -2, and 2, -4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the vertex. I'm going to go out 1 and down 2 on both sides. And then I'm going to go out 2 and down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the other side, out 2 and down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there is my graph. Now it says, what are the x-intercepts? Well, we're trying to look to see where it crosses this x-axis. So what are those x values? So 1, 2, 3. So -3, 0. Okay, I'm going to move this up so you can see it a little better. And then what is my other x value? It's 1, so 1, 0. So those are my x-intercepts. So I like to graph it and see where it crosses the x-axis. All right, now we're dealing with quadratics. Quadratics mean that it has that little squared button. So instead of 1, 1, 2, 4, which is what I use for absolute value, what's 1 squared? Well, 1 squared is 1. Well, what is 2 squared? Well, 2 squared is 4. So I'm going to be using 1, 1, 2, 4 when I'm dealing with the squared. Now, when I find the vertex, it's the same method. What's on the inside? Well, what's opposite of -2? +2. What's on the outside? It is what it is on the outside. Domain is, again, all real numbers. You can also write ARN. The range, okay, well, the range is this second number, which is -2. That's my K value of my vertex. But my A is negative. Well, what happens when A is negative? Again, it's less than or equal to. Now let's graph this and see what's going on. First, I start with the vertex, over 2 and down 2. Okay? Alrighty. And now I need to graph it. Well, using the 1, 1, 2, 4 with the A being negative, that means these second numbers are negative. So I'm going to go out 1, down 1, and out 2, down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it kind of goes off the graph. So we're just going to kind of do the best we can. All right, so for this one, does it cross the x-axis? No, so there are none. There are no x-intercepts. So it crossed the x-axis here, so there's x-intercepts. For this one, it opened down, so there's no x-intercepts. All right, now let's try the next one. It is not in the format of number 2. So I need to do my method of -b over 2a. My b is -4, so I actually have 2 negatives on top. And then I have 2 times -1. So I have 4 over -2, which equals -2. So my vertex is -2. Okay, that's my first number. My domain, all real numbers, and that's what I know so far. Okay? All right, so I just got -2 as my vertex. Again, doing this method, -b over 2a, and finding it out. Now I need to plug -2 back in. This negative is the A, so that stays on the outside. Okay? Now, a lot of people want to say, well, two negatives make a positive, but I have this is an exponent. So there's an exponent attached to it, so I can't cross those two out. Negative 2 squared is 4, and then I have to bring this negative out from the outside. Negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8 minus 3. So I have 4 minus 3 is 1. So 1 goes here and 1 goes here. Domain is all real numbers. Now I need to see if the range opens up and down. And again, my A is negative, so it's less than or equal to. All right, now let's graph this. So negative 2 up 1 is my starting point. And then because it's squared, I'm going to do 1, 1, 2, 4. The A is negative, so I attach a negative to both. So out 1, down 1. And then out 2, down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out 2, down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It opened down, so that's why I'm going down for the A. And that's why my Y values are also going down. Now, where does it cross that x-axis, y'all? It crosses at negative 1 and 1, 2, 3, negative 3. So negative 1 and negative 3. Okay, so the 1 through 3 are done. Now, I'm going to skip number 5, and I want you guys to try number 4, the negative b over 2a, and solve that process and see what you get. All right, so negative 3, negative 1, when you solve the process, when you got negative 3, and then you have to plug it back in to each of the x's and show that work. All right, so negative 3, 1, 2, 3, down 1. My A is positive. So I know it's going to be greater than or equal to. My domain is all real numbers. Now let's see where it crosses the x-axis. So I'm going to do 1, 1, 2, 4 because it's x squared. Okay? So I'm going to go out 1, up 1, and out 2, up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4. Now where does it cross? And do you see how I'm always getting that U shape? I should not be getting a V shape. This kind of looks like a V, but it should be a little bit more rounded. Okay. Only the V shape should be for number 1 because that's absolute value. All right, so where's the x-axis? So the x-intercepts are negative 2, 0. And what's this number? 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 4, 0. So those are the x-intercepts for that. All right, so that's the information for number 4. Again, 1, 1, 2, 4, because it's x squared. Because the A was positive, I have greater than or equal to. Whatever this second number is of the vertex, that K, that's also your range. Now, when we're dealing with this one, this is actually vertex form. This is the K. There's no number on the inside. So 0, negative 2. If you wanted to do negative b over 2a, that's fine. This is A, this is C. Okay, the B is attached to the x, and there is no x for this one. So the vertex is 0, negative 2. The negative 2 goes here. How would you graph the rest of it? Instead of 1, 1, 2, 4, what I would recommend is plugging in points for this one and seeing where it crosses the x-axis. All right, so I want to work out number 7. So I'm going to cross out the others or kind of hide them so you can't see them. And let's talk about number 7. It's saying which of the following quadratic functions has a range of y is greater than or equal to 2. When we're talking about range, we're talking about this outside number when we're talking about the vertex form. So which one of those numbers, and these numbers aren't the opposite. They're exactly what they mean. So if it says 2, these negative 2's do not work. So we're either dealing with A or with B. Well, let's look at the differences of A. So the inside is the exact same. They're both plus 2. And now let's look on the outside. This one's a negative and this one's a positive. So when A is negative, it opens down. And when A is positive, it opens up. So when am I going to have greater than or equal to? Well, we're going to for this one because that means it's 2 and above, greater than. So your answer is C. Okay? If it was y is less than or equal to 2, your answer would be A. All right, moving right along. So I'm going to solve a few of these vertex questions and then we'll move on. So number 9, how would we start this? Well, it's in standard form, negative b over 2a. Okay, Sorry, that's not a negative. It's just it's a 2 with the tail. So negative 4 over 2 times 1. If there's no a there, you need to know that the a is 1. Okay, so find this answer and then plug it back in. So please practice this. Okay, find the vertex. Number 10, this is a, this is b. Negative b over 2a. Do the process. Number 11, the vertex is right here. You don't have to do the work. You just have to identify it. So if it's plus 3, that means it's negative 3. And the negative 16 is as is. You do not change the sign. The inside is the opposite. Okay, because of that parentheses. All right, so those are the vertexes for each of those. Again, you're trying to find the h and the k of the vertex. Definitely on your test. All right, now let's work out 16 and 17. This is when we're trying to find the x-intercept. So if they say something about finding the x-intercepts, this is what they're talking about. All right, so let's do it. Okay, you guys are doing great. So 24 on top, negative 11 on the bottom of our x method. So what multiplies to 24 and what adds to 11? Well, let's think about this. We've got 2 and 12. We've got 3 and 8, and we've got 4 and 6. Which one of those gives me the combination of 11? 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's 8 and 3. They both have to be negative in order to get a negative 11 and a positive 24. So it's x minus 3 and x minus 8. You make them both equal to 0. To find the solution. So if someone ever asks you to find the solutions, or the x-intercepts, they're asking you to make it equal to 0. So your answers would be 3 and 8. Okay? If it doesn't look like that, they might have it as 3, 0 and 8, 0. All right, the next one. So what multiplies to 16 and what adds to 10? Okay, so what adds to 16, or what multiplies to 16 and adds to 10? Well, I've got 2 and 8 and 4 and 4. Well, 4 and 4 gives you 8 if you add them, but 2 and 8 will add to 10. Okay, so if I make those factors, I have x plus 2 and x plus 8. And if they ask me for the x-intercepts, if they're like, what are the x-intercepts? Or what are the zeros? This is what they want you to do. What are the zeros when we make them both equal to 0? X-intercepts and zeros mean the same thing. So if I made this x plus 2 equals 0, your answer is negative 2. If you have x plus 8 equals 0, your answer is negative 8. Okay, so if they're asking for the intercepts, this is what they're talking about. All right, let's move on to the next question. All right, we didn't talk about this too much this unit, but they're asking you to put it in vertex form. What they're meaning is that this is in standard form, and we need to put it in vertex form, which means we need to find the h and the k, and then plug it into this formula. Okay, so I will work out the first one with you, and then you guys can kind of fill out the rest. So I have negative 2. Because negative b over 2a, a is 1. So I have negative 2 over 2, which is negative 1. I'm going to plug negative 1 in for my x's. This is where I see the most amount of mistakes. So please make sure you are solving these. So negative 1 squared is 1. 2 times 1 is negative 2 minus 4. So negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. Okay, so my vertex is negative 1, negative 5. All right. Now, how do I put it into this magic? All right, well, the y stays the same. My a is 1, right? So I don't really need to put anything there. And then I have these parentheses squared. All right, so my x doesn't change. And I need to plug in my h. Okay, well, it's going to be the opposite when I plug it in. So instead of negative 1, I'm going to put positive 1. And then the k is what it says because it's on the outside of the parentheses. So if it says negative 5, my answer, I write negative 5. So my answer, y equals x plus 1 squared minus 5. All right, for number 19, I want you guys to find the vertex. Negative 6 over 2 times 1. So find the vertex. All right, so my vertex is -3, -9. How do I plug it in? So y equals, my a is 1, so I don't put anything there. X, and then if it says -3, I'm going to make it a +3. Don't forget the squared. And then I have the -9 on the outside. So the first number is the opposite. The second number is the same. All right, try number 20, and then ask questions in class if you need them. All right, find the vertex and tell whether it's a minimum or maximum. All right, so again, the same process to finding the vertex, -b over 2a. Please, with number 22, the negative is on the outside when you find that h value. And then when you plug in that h value, because -b over 2a, so if you got -2 over -2, your answer would be 1. So remember, it's going to have the negative is on the outside. 1 squared is 1, -1 plus 2 minus 3. So please make sure you do those exponents first. All right, how on earth do we find out what the minimum, if it's minimum or maximum? So we look at the a value of each one. Okay, this a value is positive, so that means you're going to have a minimum. This number is negative, that means you're going to have a maximum. And this number is positive, you're also going to have a minimum. What are the minimum values or maximum values? It's the k value. So for example, number 22, your axis of symmetry is 1. Plug it back in. -1 plus 2 is 1, minus 3 is -2. So your vertex is 1, -2. Your minimum value is -2. Sorry, your maximum value. Your maximum value is -2 for number 22. So find -b over 2a, plug it back in, and that answer is your minimum or maximum values. All right, moving right along. So finding the x-intercept. So these are pretty meaty questions. So I'm going to do one at a time. Okay, so on your test, they're going to ask you the whole kitchen sink, domain, range, axis symmetry, vertex, all the things. So I'm going to kind of work those out with you this time. Again, -b over 2a, it is a huge part of this test. Please make sure you understand it. -12 over 6 is -2. That is your axis of symmetry. Okay, it's the start of your vertex. Okay, plug it back in. So 3, don't forget the 3. 3 times -2 squared plus 12 times -2. -2 squared is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Minus 24. Your answer is -12. All righty. Woo! So that's your vertex. It's a minimum because your a is positive. Your minimum value is -12. Your domain is all real numbers. Your range. What is your range? Well, it's this number, -12. It opens up, so it's greater than or equal to. So all of that information because of that -12. All right, how on earth do we find these x-intercepts? Let's do it. So -2, -12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Holy guacamole, it's way down there. Okay, so actually I'm going to change where my x-axis is so I can see this better. Okay, so I'm going to make up my x-axis way up here so I can see what this graph looks like. So you can change what your graph is. So I'm going to make this my x-axis so then I can get there. So -2 down 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wow. All right. Now let's do my 1, 1, 2, 4. I'm doing 1, 1, 2, 4 because this is an x squared. Okay, my a is 3, so I'm timesing my second number by a. So I'm going to do 1, 3, 2, 12. So I'm going to start at my vertex, out 1, up 3. 1, 2, 3, both sides. Out 1, up 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, from the vertex, now I'm going to go out 2 and up 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And match it on the other side. And there we go. So what on earth are my x-intercepts? Well, it's where they cross the x-axis. So my x-intercepts are at 0, 0. What's that number? 1, 2, 3, 4. So -4, 0. All righty. Okay. All right, now let's go to 25. My vertex is 1, -8 because it's right here, y'all. My axis of symmetry is the opposite. It's 1. All right, now what can I figure out? Max or min? It opens up. It's min. That minimum value is -8. My domain, all real numbers. My range, y is greater than or equal to -8. Here we go. All right, let's graph it. Over 1, down 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the part where most people are stressed. Where do I find these x-intercepts? How do I find them? Okay. Oh, and we can also talk about y-intercept. There we go. But what I like to do is graph it and see what's up. So 1, 1, 2, 4. Are we okay? All right. Because a is 2, I'm going to times this by 2. So 1, 2, 2, 8. So out 1, up 2. Both sides start at the beginning. Out 2, up 8. Out 2, up 8. And there we go. Okay. So the x-intercepts, what are they? 1 and 1, 2, 3. -3. Okay. The y-intercept. Well, it crosses the y-axis. So what is that number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 0, -6. If you're like, ooh, how can I do that algebraically? So if I plug in 0 in for x, you can find the y-intercept. Okay? So 0 minus 1 squared is -1 squared, which is 1. 2 times 1 minus 8 is 2 minus 8, which is -6, which is on my graph. Okay, so that's how you figured out 25. All right, here's the last two. So you toss a ball that travels, all right, and x and y are measured in meters. How high will the ball go? We're talking about the maximum height, which is known as our k. So what have we been doing over and over and over again? -b over 2a. -1 over 2 times -0.1. Ooh, this one's kind of rough because this is the a, this is the b, this is the c. All right, let's calculate that. All right, so 5 is the distance across, but I want to find, if a ball is tossed in the air, I want to find the height, which is my y value, also known as my k. I know it's very confusing, but it's our hk in our equation. So I'm going to plug 5 back in. And I'm going to find out what the height is. So I plugged 5 in for the x's. Please make sure you square first, which is 25. 25 times -0.1. Solve that. Plus 5 plus 3, which is 5.5. So your height is 5.5 meters, because that's what they gave me. All right, an object is dropped from an initial height. The object height at any time in seconds is given by this. How long does it take for the object to reach the ground? So what it's asking for is where does it hit the ground? They're asking you to find the x-intercepts. So what you're going to do is make this equal to 0 and actually factor. Okay? Now this